Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tony Sports Games for episode 15 of our Road to Glory playthrough series. We're here, as always, with the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, loaded up in our Dynasty playthrough series here of Draft Day Sports College Football 2026. It is Week 16, which in Draft Day Sports is the Conference Championships week. And as we saw at the end of last episode, with our thrilling home victory, rivalry week over the hated ULM Warhawks, we were able to pull into a three-way tie atop our side of the Sun Belt here. In the Sun Belt West. There we go. And because of whatever tiebreakers worked out, it worked out in our favor. So even though we have the worst overall record of the three, our 6-2 conference record was indeed enough to win us the Sun Belt West and reserve a date for us in the Sun Belt Championship game against Marshall, who has finished the season 9-3, 5-3 in conference. So we even had a better conference record than them. Of course, Marshall, I know we didn't follow as closely as the season went on, but Marshall was a team that started out the season extremely strong. Started 6-0. Then they lost 3 straight games in the Sun Belt before kind of riding the ship here at the end of the season and winning 3 straight. So I've already put together a game plan for them. I think we have a pretty decent chance in this conference championship game. And if we can win that, of course, that's part of one of our goals for this playthrough series. Although it certainly won't be, it's just the beginning, really. We've got a lot more to do to call this thing a success, but it will be a great step in the right direction. So let's review our game plan for Marshall and review our last little bit of recruiting, and we're going to take a look at our regular season statistics here in this episode and see how we stacked up in the conference in some different categories. So let's get ready to go try and win a Sun Belt championship. Here we go. Okay, so first things first, I think we should take a look at our recruiting because we really focused on the game against ULM last episode. And as I had mentioned previously, we really were down to the last need on my kind of recruiting list for this season was to get a tight end who could be a good blocker. And we had added all the tight ends that were left on the board, which was only like 12 or 15 guys. We interviewed them all. As you can see, we have like no money left almost. And the last week it was down to, 8 or 9 or so. We did home visits with the 3 that looked like they had the best run blocking ratings, but the only one that didn't commit last week is this Clifford Smith. This James Weddle guy has not committed either, but he doesn't look like he's a good blocker. And I got to be honest, looking at Clifford Smith here, between the coach grades, the pretty poor intangibles, not a very good social type, and just a B- in run blocking, that could be in the 40s. That does not mean that's 60 plus. So I'm not really too impressed with Mr. Smith here, so I think we're just going to pass on this. We have 1 scholarship left. I guess we could look through and see, did we really scout any of these guys that are left enough to know if any of them are actually a good player? I have 19 guys left on my list that have kind of been here since the beginning. I don't know. Let's take a look at least. We've got a couple guys that have been interested in us the whole way. So this first guy, this is Lawrence Murray. He's ranked just outside the top 1,400. He's from the state of Louisiana. I think he's had interest in us the entire way through. So the good news is he's been on our list for a long time. I think these scouted attributes should be fairly accurate. All it says about him, I mean, it says he's competitive, which he is. He has good agility, and he's smart. This gives me the idea he might have decent hands. It only says he has about average potential, which is the lowest. It basically means he's not going to grow much beyond what he is right now. We already got how many? Let's see, my commits. We have 3 wide receivers committed. One of them is our maybe superstar, 1-star player, Von Rowan. And the other 2 guys, let's see, Troy Roberts. I guess I didn't really get grades on these guys. So there's no guarantee these guys are great players. Troy Roberts has the gifted social type, same as Peter Younger, by the way, who's gained about 24 or 25 skill points in his first year at school, which is awesome. Roberts has fantastic potential. So I don't know if he's going to be like starting next year or anything, but he's probably going to be able to develop into a pretty good player. So that's good, but I don't know if it helps us much next year. And then Chester McCorkle, good work ethic, good competitiveness, doesn't have super high potential, maybe, just says intangibles and speed. Don't know if he is necessarily a great player either. So, this Lawrence Murray guy just doesn't really excite me too much. This John Bible, he's a receiver too. What's this guy's deal? He's a calm baller. Every team would benefit from his leadership, well liked in the locker room. It's rare to see a kid come out of high school with this ability to catch the ball. So he has good leadership. He has good hands and good agility. Looks like he doesn't have very good strength, doesn't have very good speed. He has fantastic potential. Not an amazing social type. I'd probably offer this guy before I would offer Lawrence Murray. At least this guy's 6'6". That's something. But I just converted 2 receivers to tight end this season, so I'm not in huge need for another slow receiver to be converted to tight end. Maybe he'd be good enough to play slot. I don't know. And then this guy, Daniel Purcell. This is the only other guy that has interest in me, I guess. Decent intangibles, really good potential. That's okay. Not great coach grades. Maybe just strong. I'm not sure if this will break away from most linebackers if they do not wrap him up. I think that means speed. So maybe pretty decent speed and strong, which is a good combination for a running back, but I've already taken a couple running backs in this class. So, I don't know. I kind of need to decide here. Either we could take this scholarship with us, keep it in our pocket for next season in the portal, or we could offer it to this John Bible. I guess let me know in the comments if you guys have a strong feeling on this. I do think this might be a pretty good player. And I suppose there's always somewhat of a chance that at least one, Norman's been really good, but like Hugo Felder, he hasn't played a lot this year. I suppose there's a chance he could transfer. There's also a chance he just doesn't develop enough tight end skill to be really useful. So I guess I'm kind of talking myself into this one. Let's offer our last scholarship here to John Bible. A couple other things I did this week offline was I looked back at all our freshmen we recruited last year just to make sure that we were fulfilling our playing time promises to them. And I think we pretty much are fulfilling the promises to everyone. The one guy that it could be a little bit iffy on is, where is he? It's Becker. Yeah, this guy. Gregory Becker. We did have a playing time promise on him. Now, he has played almost 400 snaps, just not much the last 4 games. And we hopefully have 2 more games to go. So it's going to be the last 6 games. I don't think, if he stays, great. He has good work ethic. Maybe he'll develop. I'm not really going to be too sad if he transfers, though. He was a lot weaker than we thought he was going to be. He has very little guard skill, too, which is just kind of a waste. So to get this to develop, it might develop a little bit on its own, but for a guy that's just a very mediocre player, I don't want to waste a coach focus on him for like multiple years just to try to get this up above, 40s, 50. So I think we're just going to leave him on the bench. He got plenty of chances, and he gave up 11 sacks this year. So if he leaves, honestly, it's not going to be any great loss. In fact, I wonder if could we push him towards the ledge? Nope, there's no coach talks left. Okay. I say we could just criticize him more and more and see if he would just decide to transfer on his own. Okay. So let's talk our matchup with Marshall here. Now, Marshall, I've already set this up here. So they're better passing team than running. Let's look at their team page here. They're not a super explosive offense, but 62nd in passing, 80th in rushing. They're a little better defending the pass or the run than they are the pass. Not a lot stands out as being, fantastic. This guy is a pretty decent quarterback, especially at short passing, short to intermediate. He's not much of a deep threat with his, 70 arm. But, almost 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They have 2 running backs that have almost around the same amount of yardage, but this guy has a little bit more, Leon Bates. And again, decent player. It's not like a dominant roster, at least on paper. And then they have this receiver who has 49 catches for just over 700 yards. And then actually their other leading receiver is their tight end, Lucien Hamlin, who has 71 catches, 600 yards, only 4 touchdowns. So, this guy's averaging more per catch. Hamlin has about 30 more, 20, I guess, 19 more targets on the year. So, I don't know, I guess we could go either way on this. I think when I looked at their offense, it's a ton of RPOs. So it's going to be a lot of short to intermediate passes. The tight end has the most catches. The receiver has more yards. So we really could go either way on this. I think I'm going to focus Hamlin. And, well, you know what? The ULM game is screaming at me in my head right now because their number 1 receiver, that Earl Smith guy, he ended up just dominating us. So, let's see. I mean, this guy's only getting 4 catches a game, but he could do some damage. Hamlin gets more work. I'm going to leave it as it is. There is definitely an argument to be made that you should guard against the big play threat, but Hamlin is a more, I don't know. I'm going to focus Hamlin. Going to stick with my gut here. Now, coming into this game, there are some challenges for us here. As you can see, we have, a couple guys fatigued, which is a product of the system I have created. James Mathis, who our very, very weak guard, who's a senior this year. He was here when we started. He did, he did perform pretty well this year, really. I mean, he can't pancake anyone. He's not strong enough. But zero missed blocks, 230 snaps played, a sky high value per snap. He has very good effort and attitude. I guess the effort's not great in a few of these games, but attitude, awareness, very good grades as far as the kind of analytics of this game, whatever it uses. So little loss there, but he's been out the last few weeks and we've been doing fine. But this is the one that's going to hurt this week. Now, Levy, we do like Elliott a little more as far as what he brings to the table, running the ball. But Levy has been a big part of the passing game. So this is going to hurt us. This is going to hurt our offensive ability and flexibility this week and probably next week. With Levy out, you're going to see a little bit more Ralph Leach, which let's just take a look at Ralph Leach here. He has 53 carries on the year. So he has been worked in a fair bit. As you can see, he's only played, 15 to 18 snaps. Yeah, 15 snaps a game or so. But he's gotten 9, 5, 6, 7, 5 carries. So this is probably going to be up around, I would assume, at least 10 to 12 carries this week. And Ralph, he's pretty unspectacular. There's not anything about him that really stands out too much. 2 fumbles lost on 53 attempts. I don't know. I don't know how many fumbles total he has. How can we look at that? We could look at that here, I believe. Ralph Leach, 2 fumbles. Okay, so 2 fumbles on 53 attempts, 2 fumbles lost. Whatever. Then in the passing game, I've kind of confirmed that the lineup we've been running the last few weeks here is what we need to be doing as far as pass catchers are concerned. So what I did was I went and looked at our receiving stats, and I sorted by targets here, and then I just did the math. I took catches divided by targets to get a catch rate for all these players. As the season has gone on, I would say our offense is, kind of a slow and steady ball control offense. The nice thing about the ULM game, you saw what can happen when we do go over the top to Deloach. So I like that element of the game is there. But in looking over these guys, I saw that Norman, which we already knew from watching the games or even just looking at the box scores, but Norman's by far been our most dependable receiving option on the year. He has a catch rate of over almost 72%, 71.7. So he's that's really good. Now, it's not for big yardage, but he's really coming along nicely. And I don't know if he's really going to gain much more tight end positional skill, but even being at 50, he's well out of the range where there's a severe penalty. So I think he's going to have a really great career for the next 3+ years as a pass-catching tight end. But he's been by far the most dependable of our receivers. Justice, which this didn't shock me either because of the terrible morale issues he's had this year, which are probably hampering his production a bit. But he has a catch rate of 56.9%, so under 57%. Deloach, 63. Also, Deloach's catches are more downfield. So if you adjusted that for, I don't really have target depth available in this game. But if you did adjust it for target depth, obviously Deloach would be even higher than that. Levy was 78% catch rate, which is going to hurt a little bit. Elliott has had a few targets this year, and he's at 68.4%. So I'm going to have to tap down like the running back screen passes, I think, just a little bit. We can't rely on it as heavily. Usually the passes to the running back should be pretty easy to catch. But we can throw it to Elliott a little bit. We don't have to delete them. It's just not going to be quite as effective. Kimbrel, 57.8% catch rate, and McLean, very nice, 73.7% catch rate. So McLean, who just has been worked in, really within the last 3 out of the last 4 games, has been pretty reliable. And now, of course, I'm kicking myself. I'm wishing I would have plugged him in at the beginning of the season. But, this is just one of those players that plays better than his ratings, his physical ratings. He just does. He did last year in very limited work. He had a great spring game. And, I'm glad I remembered that spring game, and we made sure to work him in as the season's gone on. But he has really nice intangibles. Excellent intangibles. 93 competitiveness, even all the other stuff. Disposition, sportsmanship, team player. He's just top of the line. He has enough speed. He doesn't have very good agility. He doesn't have great hands, but he has enough speed. He has enough size, enough competitiveness that he can be pretty effective. And he has probably the best parts of a competitive altruist, because altogether his performance while he's been with us has been better than his ratings would tell you he would play. So we are going to roll with Deloach and McLean in 2 receiver sets for the championship game and the bowl game. Kimbrel's going to be the primary backup. Justice will be the backup in the slot and the second backup for outside receivers. I don't think Mr. Justice is going to play a whole lot these last couple weeks. And that's just, it is what it is. His morale in the tank, there was nothing we could do to fix it, and it has impacted his play, even though I love the improvement he made in camp in the early part of the season, but I think he needs a reset. We need to flip the season and help him gain some morale back, and he can have a chance to work his way back onto the field next year. But so that's what we're going to do there. I didn't change much else. We're going to kind of roll with what we've been doing. I suppose since Levy is out, let's uncheck backfield by committee. Now, I did change us to short passing preference, and I put Randy Norman as the primary receiver. We've left these unchecked during the year. I'm going to put Elliott in as the third down back as well. So we're going to ride Elliott, and since we don't want him to get too heavy a workload, we're going to have to bump up the passing, I think, in this one a little bit. So we're going to go up to, what can we do? How about 45? No, let's just do 47. This is fine. Okay. 50. We'll go 60. So we're going to pass more. It is a risk. It is a risk. I know it's a risk, guys, but I think it needs to be done. Now, last thing I want to do is kind of do a short review on our regular season team stats now that the regular season's over. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I don't think we're going to play this Marshall game or watch the whole thing. We're going to sim it. So all the time we have left, we're going to spend doing this. We'll sim the conference championship at the end here. So if we look at some team stats, I'm just going to call out the ones that really stand out, because I'm guessing a lot of these were going to be kind of in the middle. Our offense definitely hasn't been spectacular, but looks like we're kind of in the middle as far as yards, touchdowns, interceptions, passing-wise. Same thing with passer rating. We're definitely in the upper half as far as completion percentage, but it should be that way because we do focus a lot of short passes. One area we definitely need to continue to improve is our sack percentage. We're still at 11.5, which is second worst in the Sun Belt, and in the nation, we're in the bottom 20 still. So we still give up way too much pressure on the quarterback. I hope that doesn't bite us in the Sun Belt championship game, but I did feel like we need to adjust a little bit more into the pass just because Levy's not going to be available. Okay, so defensively, we're in the middle in terms of sacks. We don't finish a ton of sacks, but we are number 1 in knockdowns and we are number 1 in hurries. I wonder, where are we at in the country in hurries? We're in the top 8 or so here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tied for 6th. So we have had a fairly effective pass rush this year. Of course, we're not quite so close to the top in knockdowns, but so while our sack numbers aren't huge, our pass rush as a whole has been okay. Now, I know I looked earlier. I know our turnover differential has not been so good. We'll get to that in a second here. The other part of pass defense besides pass rush is, of course, passes defense. And we're kind of in the middle in the conference there. So I would say our pass rush, or getting decent pressure, which is really funny, isn't it? Because when the games I've watched, it seems like we have no pressure. I guess we're just not getting sacks. We might be getting some pressures that I just don't quite see. But overall this year, I'd say our pass defense has been better than I expected it to be, which is nice. On the other hand, our run defense has been not so good, which is something we may need to adjust next year. But nothing there really stands out too much. The other thing, obviously we're going to be towards the top here in sacks allowed, also in missed blocks. So our offensive line is young, and we've got some work to do to really turn them into a dominant unit, or the type of unit we want, moving forward. Turnovers, this is where we have to be careful with this Marshall matchup, because as you can see, Marshall only has 9 turnovers on the year as a team, and they've forced 21. So they have a turnover differential of 12, tied for first in the league. We are down here at -5. We have 20 turnovers on the year. We've only forced 15. So one thing I'm going to do, just to try to avoid taking too many risks, I guess we're already conservative on offense, so we're gonna roll with that. But I think that about does it as far as preamble here. So let's take a look at our games this week. We have a number of conference championship games up for grabs. Now, the Big Ten championship is USC and Michigan, the same as it was last year, interestingly enough. And last year, Michigan won the Big Ten championship, and then USC beat Michigan in the, I think, semifinals of the playoffs, and then won the championship. So let's see how this one turned out. Looks like USC wins 28-21. Michigan was number 1 before this game. So they will have a chance to do exactly what USC did last year and make the reverse run. Now, I wonder, with them being number 1, I wonder if they beat USC in the regular season. Did they play? Yes, they did. Look at this. So Michigan beats USC week 14, then rematches them in the conference championship game and loses. And I guess we'll have to wait and see if they end up squaring off for a third time in the playoffs. I'm sure Michigan will be in. That will be very interesting. The SEC championship game, Tennessee against Oklahoma. No LSU to be seen, so we'll have to take a look here and see what has become of LSU down the stretch. But Oklahoma is the SEC champions, so they'll be in the playoffs. With only a 12-team playoff, I doubt Tennessee will be in, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. ACC championship, number 12 North Carolina falls to number 4 Florida State. North Carolina will be out. Florida State will be in. The Big 12 championship, Iowa State against Baylor. Number 19 Iowa State falls in pretty dominant fashion. Baylor wins convincingly. They'll be in. Iowa State will be out. The American Athletic Championship, we have number 13 East Carolina. This is bad news for a team like Tennessee, because they wouldn't have gotten an automatic bye or an automatic bid into the playoffs, but at number 13 before this week and with a win, East Carolina should probably be in. So for any bubble teams that were kind of on the edge, we should take a look at in a second and see who's 9th, 10th, 11th coming into this week. Fresno beats UNLV in the Mountain West Championship. I'm sure neither of those teams will be in the playoffs. Sam Houston State wins it over Middle Tennessee, 31-24 in Conference USA Championship. And in the MAC Championship, we have Miami of Ohio victorious over Central Michigan. None of these conference games featured ranked teams, so I'm sure none of them will be in the playoffs. If we look at the top 25 coming into this week, let's see. We have Michigan, Oklahoma, USC, Florida State, Iowa should be safe since they didn't play. Baylor will be in, Penn State, and then here's where it gets tricky because Tennessee just lost. So you have Utah, Nebraska, Notre Dame, North Carolina, who lost as well. North Carolina is going to be out. East Carolina is going to be in. Then, I guess none of these teams, like LSU, may not make it in. They're at 15. Tennessee, I don't think, is going to drop all the way to 16. So if I had to guess, North Carolina's out, East Carolina's in, and I suppose it's just a question of, is it going to be Tennessee or like Ohio State? So that will be interesting. We will see how far Tennessee falls. You know what? I think they're going to end up 13th. I think it's going to be ECU in here. I don't know. We'll see. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be in the conference championship game or the playoffs, but we are in the conference championship game. So let's take a look and see how this game went. We'll sim the game here. Let's watch the highlights, shall we? Marshall favored by 7.5. Forecast 37 windy and 20% chance of rain. Wish I would have passed the ball less. Now that we just saw that, but let's watch the highlights here since we've never done that together. You know what? To watch the highlights, let's do it. Let's do it this way. Because I haven't shown this yet. Let's put the animated figures on, the new feature. Let's watch the highlights of the Sun Belt Championship game here, folks. Louisiana against Marshall. It looks like the first highlight is going to be Marshall on offense, so that's always a little scary. But let's see. This is first and goal on the Louisiana 3-yard line. So they're going to run the RPO, and they run it to the right, and it's a touchdown here. Let's go full screen. This is funny. Okay, so touchdown Marshall. They're up 7-0. The next play, we'll get to it here. Let's see, what do we got next? Fourth and goal. It looks like we kick a field goal in the second quarter, and it is good. So that's good news. Now, with 5 seconds left to go in the half, Marshall kicks a field goal, and they lead us 10-3 at half. Let's do this follow the ball camera because it's really fun. On fourth and goal from the 1, we kicked a field goal in the third quarter. That could come back to bite us. That's disappointing. Oh, here we go. 2nd and 8. Uh-oh. Oh, no! Marshall! Marshall scores. That football is huge. How did he even carry that? So Marshall scores to make it 17-6 in the... Was that late in the third quarter or early in the fourth? That's early in the fourth. So this is not looking great for us. Let's see. 3rd and 5 on the Marshall 35. Is it a long touchdown here? Let's see. Nope, it's a sack. That's unfortunate. Greg wasn't even facing the receivers. Come on, Greg. So, guys, it's looking like my game plan change might not have worked out so well. Looks like Marshall's going to add another field goal. And it says 20-6 with 3 minutes left. Let's see. Did we pull off a miracle comeback? It's not looking great, is it? Well, we got something here. Oh, there we go. Nice little pass there. Hit somebody on the slant. Who was that? That was Enriquez to... Is it going to tell us? to Justice. Oh, good for Justice. Getting in. Oh, he had 5 catches for 41 yards. So somehow he got on the field a lot. Interesting. Now that was with 1:44 left. So unless we got an onside kick, that was probably the end of the game. Is it going to tell us? We fall a little short in the Sun Belt Championship game. 20-13 to Marshall. Looks like Enriquez 26 of 34 for 239, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bates hurt us. Leon Bates, 9 rushes, but for 51 yards. And the receiver that we chose to not focus, or no, it would have been Hamlin, though. No, Hamlin's the one we did focus. He still had 7 catches. But not focusing Holden, yeah, looks like it hurt us indeed, didn't it? Although, wait a second. Was Holden even their leading? No, Payne was their leading receiver. So I would have focused Payne. He did nothing anyway. Holden's the one that killed us. So I suppose that didn't ruin the game for us. But offense player of the game, Bruce Murray, 8 pancakes, tackle for Marshall. Unfortunately, he got injured. Looks like he'll be out. Broke some ribs. Well, we're getting pancakes by him, so we punched him in the ribs. And defensive player of the game, Mark Verdon, linebacker for Marshall with 6 tackles and 1 interception. If we look at how our plan worked out on the whole, looks like it was a competitive game. We got down and weren't able to score enough to come back. Both defenses looked like they played pretty well. Louisiana, 29 rushes for 88 yards, so we only averaged 3 yards a carry. So probably leaning into the pass more was the right call in this case. However, we get held to 3 of 12 on third downs. Marshall not great on third down either. So our defense, for the most part, did their job. 4.1 yards a rush. We had more yards per play, I would say. Tied in turnovers 2-2. I'd say probably they scored off our turnover sooner than we did off theirs. If you look, a lot of these numbers are really, really similar. So this was a very close game. Enriquez, has a pretty efficient game minus the interception. That definitely hurt us, but 26 of 34 for 239, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Elliott, in his, biggest chance this year to be a workhorse back, didn't go very well, did it? 18 carries for 46 yards, only averaged 2.6 yards a carry. Norman catches 8 of 13 targets for 52 yards. Dependable, but not explosive. Deloach did have a few nice catches. We may go to Deloach in the bowl game. I'm just going to say that. He's finished the season kind of on a hot streak. McLean catches 4 of 4, but not for much yardage. So a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Not quite enough good to make up for the bad. On defense, Harry Hughes is our leading tackler, along with Paul Brooks. Paul Brooks also with 2 TFLs and a forced fumble. Nice. Peter Younger with a sack. Matthew Greer with a sack. Matthew Greer with 4 sacks on the year, our converted guard, who has played 333 snaps at defensive end this year. He has gained some guards or some defensive end skill. At 39, he's almost out of the penalty, which is nice to see. Galarza with a sack. And let's see, how did our guy Kevin Sturgis, no tackles, 1 hurry. So not one of his more productive games. About an equal number of penalties. Let's see, Andrew Bradshaw allowed another sack, up to 8 on the year. Yikes. Mayberry wormed his way into the game and allowed a sack. Or was he? He's been starting the last few games. So our regular season ends on a high note. The conference championship game, it doesn't quite work out for us, although it's a close game. But we now move into bowl season, and we are going to a bowl. We are going to the prestigious, world-famous 68 Ventures Bowl. We'll take a look at our opponent in a second. And we got John Bible to commit, so we filled our allotted scholarships that we had so far. Our bowl opponent will be Miami of Ohio in the 68 Ventures Bowl. Given the size of our program, we can be very satisfied with this opportunity. I agree. Great job, guys. We hit our goal for the year. Now we're going to try to win this bowl game. The Red Hawks are a good team. Don't underestimate them. Well, are they the MAC champions? Who won the MAC championship? It was, Miami of Ohio. So we are playing the MAC champions, Miami of Ohio, in the 68 Ventures Bowl. It is in, where is it? Does it say where it is? Where does it say the... Oh, Mobile, Alabama. Is that the home of the UAB Blazers? So a little closer to us than them. So hopefully we have a little bit of a fan advantage. So we will look at this matchup. Looks like I hope some of these guys play. We have some issues. They have some injuries too, though. So this will be an interesting matchup. I think for our last episode of the season, before the off-season starts, next time on the Road to Glory, we will play, not watch. That's right, folks. We will play the 68 Ventures Bowl against the MAC champion Miami of Ohio. What's their mascot again? The Red Hawks. Some more Hawks. So we already beat the Warhawks. Now we just have to beat the Red Hawks. But that will have to wait. For now, thanks everyone again for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you in Mobile, Alabama for the 68 Ventures Bowl, where we will play and hopefully we will be victorious. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you next week right back here at Tony Sports Games for the next video.